Welcome to the First 30 Podcast. Today we're playing the new first-person puzzle platformer by Sad Owl Studios, Viewfinder. Is this the best puzzle game we've seen since Portal? But are the puzzles a bit too easy? And will we ever recover from the mind-bending mechanics of this game? Well, let's find out. Thank you for listening to the First 30. I'm your host, Chad Callahan, and alongside me are the photographs Nickelback doesn't want you to look at, Tim Harris.
Hello.
And David Marino.
If Nickelback doesn't want you to look, you probably should.
Wait, what if he does? They're offering all the time. Look at the photograph. What's on the photograph? That's the real question.
I think it was like a picture of his family. I don't know.
I actually don't know either. I know the song, but I don't know if I've ever actually watched the video.
There is indeed a video, isn't there?
I know there's a video. I've never watched it.
About
Yeah.
that.
Well, it's because, that's where the meme is from.
Doing wacky things because he's a wacky guy, right?
Yeah, wacky inflatable to Nickelback.
Chad Kroeger, wacky human.
Yeah.
I forget that his name is also Chad. That's
He
throwing
is
me.
the discoverer of Theory of a Dead Man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what's hilarious?
What's
Okay, well that's also interesting. But this is actually stupid. It's not even interesting at all. But
He's backpedaling.
I know, because it's only interesting to me in retrospect, but everyone, like, if you type Kiefer's name, which is my boyfriend, his name is Kiefer. If you type it into any text, it'll autocorrect it to Kroger, and I'm Chad. Chad Kroger is the ultimate.
I think it's really like, why does it autocorrect it to Kroger?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because like there are Kroger around us. Like that's a grocery store for those who aren't, from this area. There's a grocery store called Kroger, and yeah, every time me or my mom like type, Kiefer's name, it'll like autocorrect it to Kroger because Kiefer's name is not spelt the traditional way that Kiefer's spelt. So I think that's what it's same way with mine, where mine gets changed. I actually don't know what it changes it to anymore. When you try to type my name
Chad
with
with
two
one
Ds.
D.
My phone's learned me now, so I'm actually curious if what it would be. Like it used to do like chatty, CHATTY or something like that,
yeah.
or something like that. What does yours say? Well, it might know yours because like you guys type to me, so
Yeah,
Mine
mine
just-
just...
We have like basic ass names, so like I don't think the phone would misinterpret our names, whereas like anyone who has a name that's like ever so slightly not like the top 10 names of all time is going to probably get put in as a misprint.
No, but the worst thing in the world is the O and I are next to each other, and you don't know how many times I have to go back and fix the Tom to Tim in text. Happens all the freaking time. Oh, it drives me absolutely nuts. But we're not here to talk about our weird names. We're here to talk about the game Viewfinder, which honestly, this game, Loki, is blowing my mind.
It's incredible.
It's like a puzzle. Without getting too far into it and spilling some beans. This game is probably one of the more interesting puzzle games that I've come across since Portal. Honestly, I'll be perfectly honest. I can't think of another puzzle game off the top of my head that's given me hope like this of like a new generation of puzzle games. Because they always like, what's the other? Cube, Qube.
Oh,
like
Cube,
I played
yeah.
that one with the hope of it being like Portal. And I remember being fine, but it didn't. I don't think I continued it. Like I remember playing, like I think I got to the halfway mark and then I just put it down and I never picked it up again. So I never.
I've played both of them because they made a Cube 2. There was a sequel.
Yeah, I think I bought that one actually. I didn't buy the first one.
Yeah, they're pretty forgettable. Like they were fun. They're fine. I finished them both, but yeah, it's nothing in Cube really sticks with you.
There was a moment there while you guys were speaking that I thought that we played for this show, that game. And I was like, I don't remember that at all.
Well,
No.
it's probably because
Cube 2. Yeah, I got 2.
Chad just offhandedly said he didn't continue it. So Tim was like,
Yeah.
we did this for the
yeah.
show? Fuck!
No.
I was about to be like, wow, I must have completely forgot it.
See, that's how perfect the idea of whether or not we'd continue would work. It's because it's accurate to life. Like, so how many times have we not continued a game? But yeah, it's Cube 2. I bought. And I think I I think I remember being fairly short, but I still, I just didn't continue it. So kind of a bummer. But this one may be different. You'll have to listen to the end to find out. Wink, wink. But David, do you want to take us a little bit through the story? And Tim, you can fill in some of the cracks here and there because we skipped over a lot of the lore.
Well, yeah. So we are in a simulation of some scientist or like philosophy guy. I'm not entirely sure what he does. He might even just be like an artist that created this digital space to like work in. But we are delving through what's essentially an archive and looking for a weather dominator because apparently the future, wherever, like however far in the future, we don't get a date or we don't know how far from us this is, but just complete climate devastation.
Yeah,
you
it's
look
the
outside,
next Tuesday.
Yeah, it looks like Mars. There's a brief section where you step out of the simulation and it's just red dust and you can't see the sky and like you can only see buildings that are directly across the street and nothing else.
This sounds too familiar to current events. Interesting. Yeah. All right. But there's also a couple characters in this game. One we never truly meet, but we hear them. I don't know who the character is. Tim, do you have any, like, who's Jesse? There's two characters that we meet within here. One's Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse is like our bud who's in the real world while we are in the simulation. Yes. Yeah, she is. And,
or is she like a Siri to us?
She's kind of keeping tabs. I mean, she might be, but she's kind of keeping tabs on where we are within the simulation and trying to, you know, I guess her purpose is to like guide us in the right direction, but maybe also make sure that we can get back out.
Well, you know what the interesting thing about Jessie is she keeps going, you made it. And she's always on the other side of stuff. So it's like, you couldn't have helped me like get to where we need to be this whole time. Yeah. Like I had to go and do this on my own. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird because she's always on the other side, like the phone on some far distance. So she knows how to get to the phone. She could at least tell us how to get there. I don't know.
Well, that's the other weird thing with her. Her dialogue is weird because she keeps making references to like the simulation's like a maze and like you have to find your way through. But
right.
All of the worlds so far have been hubs. You do a section of puzzles and come back. And then you do another section of puzzles and come back. And then you have to come back to the hub to move to the next part. So it doesn't feel like a maze. It doesn't feel like we're progressing through anything. We're just exploring these worlds, essentially.
I'm assuming that's just like reference to her trying to keep tabs on where you're at within the grand scheme of things. And she has a hard time doing that as you delve deeper in, which I'm guessing when you get to those later levels, you're deeper in, you know? Because like your little hub carriage is technically in World 3, not at World 1 when you're, you know, at that place. So I don't know. Maybe there's 5 different hubs that look identical. Because like your little carriage is at World 3 when you are in World 3. Like, that's the hub for that world.
Maybe.
So, like, I don't know.
Maybe the hub every time is just a photo of your previous hub plus some.
It just keeps getting added on.
New world is added on to the continuous hub. So it's not the same hub over and over. That would be insane. But my favorite character that you go through is this little Cheshire inspired cat named Kate. Who look with the name like that must be amazing. And most important thing, you can pet the cat.
Indeed.
You can pet the Kate.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And you get the little icon, what's it called? Achievement for that.
Yep. So I was about to say most important part, there is an achievement for petting the animal.
Cat, yep.
Yes.
Yeah. David would never got it if we didn't force him to do it. You know, his allergic ass.
I probably would have because it's not a hidden achievement, so it was in the list. I would have begrudgingly pet the cat once and then never done it again.
Oh, but if it wasn't in the list, you would have never just done it. You would have had to go back into the game, do it, and then leave.
And then leave. It would have been the last achievement it would have been the last achievement I got because I never would have thought to do it.
Oh, that's disappointing. David was even teasing us at certain points because he kept like going, and then walking away.
Well, because
like, no, you gotta pet the kitty.
I was testing to see whether or not it was like just that one time where you come back to the simulation and like he introduces himself, or if it was going to let you do it from that point on. And you can pet the cat multiple times whenever you want.
Yeah, actually, my only concern, and I guess it's more to get different perspectives and different voices, which I'm not opposed to. I just don't get the difference between Kate and Jesse and like who they are to us and like what, like why they exist in the game.
Kate is basically the thing that the person who created this simulation created as like the method of like, you know, this is the operator of that program. So it's the thing that stabilizes that world basically.
So I guess Kate is the in-game or in-world, you know, person that helps you progress, and then Jesse's the out-of-world person that helps you progress in different capacities. It just feels like why is there two?
When he introduces himself, I think he says something about he's like the librarian of the archive. So he's basically there just to keep tabs, make sure everything's running properly.
Right.
Jesse doesn't really seem to have a purpose. Like,
he's your Windows security suite.
Yeah, I guess she's kind of there to like tether us to the real world and like let us know what's going on, how dire the situations are, and like why we need to find the weather thingy. But I don't know. I feel like the game could probably lose that character and not really lose.
Well,
there's
too probably stuff in the lore that makes the character more important to the overall world building aspect. You know, the stuff that we tend to ignore while we're playing.
Well, okay, so here I can tell you that at least in the first world, because when I was playing it myself, I was listening to all the record players, whatever those things are. All of the in-game, or all of the in-simulation ones are just audio logs and kind of like slice of life things from the creators of the simulation. So the two, I think it's a husband and wife, they're always talking on the things. And then we did listen to one in the strange illusion world where it was that guy. Because I guess each of these hubs are like their personal space that we're going through.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they're doing this because it's almost like they're trying to, each world is a personality, if you will, or we're going through their brain somehow. It's kind of how they're like making it, or maybe it's different artists and how they're doing stuff. I don't know.
Their process.
Really it's kind of how I'm thinking about it. But let's get a little bit into the graphics because this reminds me, and I don't know if this is accurate, David, so you tell me if I'm wrong. The graphics actually remind me a little bit of Portal.
No,
as
you're
far
wrong.
as like the style.
It looks nothing like Portal.
I'm
I don't know. I
trying
feel like
to
there's a
think
little bit of it.
what this game does remind me of,
There's
though, because it's on the
something-
tip of my tongue. It's not Portal.
Yeah, the look of it, like just the artistic aesthetic of the game,
The general
is
look,
similar to The Witness.
That's what it is.
I've never
Yeah.
played that, though.
Completely
Hold on,
different
let me
gameplay, but it does look like The Witness. It's also very similar, not just in look, but also to gameplay of Superliminal, which if you have not played, go play Superliminal. It's incredible, but it has a very similar kind of perspective-based puzzle-solving mechanic. And it does look like that, kind of like a very clean, simple, boxy aesthetic.
You know, I've not played Superliminal. I've seen people do it, but for some reason, Superliminal, even though it's kind of one of those mind bendery games, kind of like this has in its moment, where you have to kind of like look at it the right way. I feel like this one actually does it to another extreme with the way that they do a lot of this. Well, once we can get into the gameplay,
yes. I think the trick, right, kind of the magic trick of Viewfinder is more impressive than Superliminal. Superliminal uses it to create puzzles better, though.
Oh, okay.
So
We'll get into
in this
that
one,
then.
we'll talk about the thing. But yeah, I think Superliminal's probably the better game, like to actually play. But the idea, the concept, the execution of like how this game handles its mechanic is incredible. Like, I've never seen anything like this. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of impressive things in this game. And I'm actually really curious to see if there's like a Viewfinder 2 in the future, to see if like they fix maybe some of the issues that David might have that we'll talk about later, or, you know, other things in that. But to continue with the graphics, one thing I thought was really freaking cool is you can change the filter on your camera that you have. So at one point you get kind of a camera that you can utilize and take photos and essentially change the world as it is. But whatever filter you have on, which was like, I think we had a negative filter, and we had a night vision filter, a cool filter, a warm filter, and a black and white filter. If you put that on something that also has, say, a filter, it has a different look altogether in the world that you're in. And it's like, it blew my mind because we had a negative filter, right? And then David put down the black and white, you know, photo, and he took a picture of that, and it negativity it. Like, it just messed with my brain when I saw that. I was like, I didn't even consider that. Like, it didn't, like, I wouldn't even thought of that had we not done it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just those like little pieces of detail that this game gets right as far as like the visuals of the game. I think if there's one thing this game will like wow you over is just the visuals overall, like in how the perspective works. And like you like sit there and you look at a photograph, you take that, and then all of a sudden you take a half a step aside and you're like, wait a minute, something's off. And it's just a whole different world that you've created in front of you. The graphics are insane in this game, I will say.
There was a lot of attention to detail put into like every minute little thing, because like even if you are slightly off on your perspective, you can mess something up in a way that will just stop you from completing a specific puzzle just because your perspective was off a little bit. Like, yeah,
David had that happen.
Yeah, like most games will be like, oh, you touched the tree, so the whole thing got erased. Not this one. Not this one. So yeah, it's really neat. There's a lot of attention to detail there.
And exactly where you put the photo will get cut off.
Yeah, because David had the tiniest, like if you weren't even looking for it, you wouldn't even see it.
Fuck that puzzle.
Yeah, there's a puzzle where you had to like look at a certain angle, but David cut off like the tiniest sliver of a wall, and it was right in front of the perspective that he had to be in. And this cutoff happened 3 or 4 puzzles before, so he had to reverse 3 or 4 times just to reset what he did. Yeah, it was
wall.
I mean,
piece of shit.
It's part of the game. But like, I was trying to figure out what you're doing. I was like, I don't know why he's struggling until you told me what was happening.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the chunk at first. So I was like, I stood in front of the puzzle, and there's a pretty generous like auto alignment. Once you get close, it kind of like pulls you over to where you need to be. So I get in front, and it would do the auto correct, but it would auto correct me like worse than what I started at. So like trying to shift it back, like I thought maybe something was broken. We were gonna have to restart the level and trying to get in the right position. Then it would go like and like push me over to the side. And then I noticed the little itty bitty tiny chunk of color just floating in space. Had to backtrack through like the other 3 different puzzles just to get back and make a clean cut. And then we can put it behind us and solve the rest of the puzzle. Fuck.
Yeah. So whether that's good or bad, I mean, that's up for debate, really, because like
the
that's
word
just
is great.
Yeah. Okay. So because it's actually it's a great thing.
No, it's a testament to how free form and like not gimmicky the photo mechanic is.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine. I'm imagining a different version of this game where pretty much everything is like those pedestal cameras where. Like you have to take things and put them in front of it to take the picture, and like have it essentially be everything's locked off, set. The dev knows, okay, this is what the picture's going to be. You know, we can align them like this. and like the little behind the scenes trickery and fakery to like make this work. But there's none of that here. Like you can take a picture of anything at any time and put it anywhere in the world and it works. It does exactly what it looks like it should do.
Yeah. It's hella impressive. And like if you ever get your hands on the game, or if you look at the VOD that we had on the Chestery Games YouTube channel, go on there and just check it out because it is mind bending. You should have heard my jaw you would have probably audibly heard my jaw drop on stream when we first started playing this game. It just hit the floor. But another great thing about this game is a little bit of the soundscape. In particular, the first off, the music is top tier. It is okay. And I only say that because it's probably the exact same music I listen on my dreamy vibes playlist that I listen at night.
It's chill lo-fi beats to solve puzzles too.
I'm 100% a lo-fi person. I don't know what happened in the past like 5 years, but I've slowly become like only lo-fi in the background.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like I have an entire
it.
playlist on my YouTube Music that's just lo-fi covers of like songs. And it's the greatest thing ever.
It's so good. Actually, right now, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Lo-fi Corgi, is that the one I like? Because there's like, the lo-fi girl. Corgi chillin'. And then there's lo-fi Corgi. But the one I've been listening to is Corgi chilling, and so good. And all the pictures are just corgis like floating in space or at the beach. It's just great. And the music's wonderful.
Corgis chilling, black cats
Corgi chilling. Hell yeah, that's my life. So 100% recommend that channel. They do not get enough love because they have less than 8,000 subscribers, but all their videos have like over 800,000 views. So it's like, must be good music. I mean, if you get that ratio, but great music. I would say even the sounds overall, like we were talking over it, so it's hard for me to like 100% say like, oh, the sounds are great. David, do you have any thoughts on just like the ambient sounds and like the sounds of the world itself?
Not too much. The sound effects, the ambience, the kind of the background stuff is fine. It's a very sparse game. It's not like a ton going on. Sound effects are okay. Nothing sounds, bad or even like really gets in the way. There were a couple of sound glitches that might get patched out we were playing through. In one level, I killed the teleporter, and when you do that, the power pad makes kind of like this electric cracking buzzing noise because you broke it. But when I rewound to the fixed state, the broken sound was still playing. So that was just a small cosmetic bug. But
okay,
yeah, overall
fair
sounds
enough.
great.
Yeah, and the best thing about the sound is that when you use the cold filter and you take a picture, when you are inside of your picture, it has little crickets in the background because it represents night.
Yeah.
It's the greatest touch in this entire game.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, we mentioned it. Yeah.
When you have the cold filter on, since the cold is the night color,
the
wink,
nighttime.
wink. When you walk into that area, it starts to play little crickets chirping. It's the greatest touch.
That's cool.
It's
I'll have
so
to go
good.
back and take a look at that.
That was one of
I
my
didn't
favorite
notice
things.
that.
It was so good.
I wonder if the other ones do that.
They
Or
might.
if they have unique sounds. I don't know. I mean,
What would be
if, like,
sick?
there's, like,
Oh my god! What would be so sick is you put the night filter or the night vision filter on, and when you take a picture, instead of the like shutter click sound, it does the Splinter Cell like bing whiny noise. Oh my god, that'd be so fucking sick.
Or imagine you have with the negative filter, right? So you go into the negative world, there's like a dog there and it meows at you. I think that would be attention to detail. So for part 2, if the devs are listening, please, just one moment, please put that in there.
Or like a super high-pitched woof and a low growl meow.
Yeah, something crazy where it's just the negative effect of it.
Oh no,
That'd be
you know what they should have
hilarious.
done? Because Kate will show up. You can't take a picture to like copy him, but he'll show up in the photo after you place it.
Yeah.
They should have recorded a line or two with Jesse's voice actress. So it was the other.
Oh, that would have been funny. So the girl, that would have been clever to switch the voices on those. Actually, the voices of the characters, I would say, are fairly good too. Like, I think that the voice acting. You don't like the voice acting?
I think
I like
Kate's
Kate.
fine. Like that.
You know, like Jesse.
Jesse's voice actress is really irritating. Like, I don't know.
I think Jesse's more
I
generic.
don't know if it's just like
I don't think
the
she's
writing
bad.
for that half of the game, but I do not like that.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like everyone who was voice acting in this did a good job for their specific role. Like, not everyone has to sound like, you know, a cartoon character or something. I feel
Yeah.
like she sounded like a person who was watching over you.
Yeah, I don't hate either of them, but I can see that I could agree that the writing for Jesse was not nearly as strong as the writing for Kate. I will agree on that part for sure, though. And let's quickly, lastly, before we get to the tidbits, talk about the UI. There is barely any. Tim, do you want to take us through some of the UI that you've seen?
Yeah, there's literally like two things. There's words that pop up on the screen when you hover over notes to give you a little lore. And then whenever you go to collect the collectible, which it will tell you on the screen that you can pick stuff up. That's one of the UI things.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
It'll let you know when you've collected a collectible, and I think that's literally it, aside from it telling you the controls when you're inside of the camera mode or anything like that. That's it.
Oh, there is another pop-up I just remembered. But if you
What is it?
if you accidentally destroy the teleporter,
Oh yeah,
it'll
that's right.
say
Oh.
you killed it. Rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need the teleporter to win the game. But yeah, other than hold and you can see your camera or something in your hands, I guess technically, so I'll count that as UI as well. So if you have a photograph, it will show up on the screen. So yeah, that's part of the UI, I was assumed. But yeah, literally the screen is just empty space, which I actually like. I love that clean. This game needs it because you need to feel like you're in this world. That's how impressive it is. So I'm glad that they did this like really clean look. They didn't have any things on the screen to kind of distract you from the overall. It's almost, does Portal have anything, I guess, on the screens? I can't even think
you have
of
a
anything.
reticle.
Other than, yeah, I guess there's a reticle. That's about it.
But
So,
yeah, that's it.
and even still, like, I like the fact that this doesn't have reticle. Not that you need one, but I do kind of like the fact that this doesn't have something specifically for that. But David, you have some tidbits.
Do I?
I don't know, I'm assuming you at least have one.
Yeah, well, I cannot find very much about this game. The devs are being pretty tight-lipped about the process. There's like 2 dev diaries, but they don't really talk about much on Steam. So this game's made by Sad Owl Studios. It's their first project right out of the gate with an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And they're based in Scotland. That's really all I could find out about them.
Scotland, really? Ah,
Okay.
why they're bangers right there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? They're living up to their freaking culture. They got this. Okay.
And now it's time for the Cullen Skink, which apparently is some Scottish stew of this podcast, the gameplay, which this game has both a lot going on and very little going on at the same time. And if you play this game, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
That's fair.
But David, do you want to take us through like some just the basic movements of the
so
characters?
I mean, you move and look, WASD controller, I suppose, if you're into that. You can pick up photos that are lying around, and you have some interactions with like the cameras, or press E on the audio logs to listen to those. But other than that, like most good puzzle games, you're just trying to get to the exit. You start off the level somewhere. You usually can see the teleporter pad that acts as the level finale, and you just have to figure out how to get there. And figuring out how to get there is the best part of this game. Because
Truly.
the whole game revolves around the fact that you can take a photo if they give you a photo, or later on when you get the camera, you can take your own photo, look at it in front of you, and essentially just place it in the world. So you have the photo, and when you don't have a hand, but imagine you're holding it, and then when you let go, that photo becomes projected into the world, cutting out whatever you had behind it. So if you're looking at your photo and you put it over a wall, whatever was in that photo, another wall, the teleporter, some floor, will cut out the wall you were looking at and project its geometry into the world.
Yeah.
And you need to use that to solve puzzles.
And it gets insane because sometimes you have to kind of get the perspective of the photo properly lined up. So sometimes, like, say there's like a background, a foreground, and then what you're trying to look for is like the stairs in between. You have to line up the stairs with where you're trying to go because the background is all the way out in the ether. So like you don't even have the background anymore. And then sometimes the foreground comes forward. Like you had one was a really bad drawing of a house, right? And all it was is white, 2 flowers, a house. And I was like, what even is this? When you placed it down, the white just acted like the ground. And then 2 flowers were just up in the foreground. So you walk right past the flowers and then you could just walk right into the house. It was like the craziest thing. Like, so it's just weird how sometimes the geometry works.
What's
in this
wild
game.
too
it was
is
the yard. It's the yard.
Yeah,
that's what the white
bring
is.
all the boys to the yard.
That's right.
Who had the milkshakes? Though?
When you take if you had the camera, if you take a picture, you're pretty much going to be limited to just what was in that photo. So, you take the picture, whatever geometry is in there, there's nothing beyond that. So you get the floor, whatever was next to it, the item you took a picture of, and you don't get anything extra. But if you pick up a photo or even a painting, because there are like things other than photographs that you can pick up in place, there can be hidden rooms beyond what you can see. So you pick up a photo and place it, and it'll just be like of a hallway. But when you walk into the photo, it might turn off to the left and you'll be able to get to somewhere else than what you were able to look at. There was one puzzle where it did that, but the solution was like around the corner and on the wall. So you actually had to back out, rotate the photo so that the hallway went down and then you could fall into where the teleporter was. And
that's something to bring up is that a lot of the puzzle figuring out in this is figuring out the alignment of the photo, because sometimes you might take a picture of something or you might find a photo and you have to align it properly to get to the other side, essentially to the teleporter. So you also have to have the exact geometry in mind when you're rotating as well.
Yeah. Something to make note of, though, because earlier I compared this to superliminal. It's actually like an inverse or like a reverse superliminal, because in this game, whatever you take a picture of will keep its proportions. So if you take a picture of something that's really far away and you place it again, it will still be that far away. You'll have to try and figure out either like, there's a piece of walkway that goes off that way, so you'll have to put it at the end of that walkway instead of, if you look at it and bring it close to you, it's just going to make a gap that you still can't traverse. Whereas in superliminal, when you're looking at something and you place it, it will be that size. Like it'll be this close to you, but this small. Or if you put it up against the wall and make it bigger in your view, when you let it go, it's going to be this giant thing.
Okay.
So it uses perspectives differently.
Yeah,
like in this game, it's using accurate scale versus perspectives.
You're
changing the scale.
You're capturing the objects as they are and not changing them at all. Whereas in superliminal, you have to force the perspective in order to change the size of object, or even change the size of yourself. Because that was some wild stuff they got into towards the end of that game, because you could pick up a door, right? Or like a portal and, make it so that now it's a giant door. And then you walk into the door and you're tiny now. You're tiny because you walked into the giant door.
Interesting.
Wild
okay, so
stuff.
Superliminal sounds like a crazy game.
Crazy game.
Not to confuse you with a different game, but highly recommended from David.
That game goes nuts with its perspective tricks. But this one, other than being able to like change the orientation of something or like just put it somewhere else, you're not going to be able to change the size or distance of anything between objects, at least in the photo, because you can like move them in space. Like if you move up, if you like angle it up, it will be placed further from you or closer to you, but the objects in the picture aren't going to be bigger or smaller. They're going to be the same size.
Now, the interesting about this game, too, that I don't know if we touched on, is you mentioned how it replaces, like, your photographs replace what is in the world. So, for example, if you take a picture of space, a lot of the puzzles are just like destroying the world and just get so you can get around. So you could just like say there's a fence in front of you. You take a picture of space or the sky or whatever, and you put it in front of that fence just so you could destroy that fence so you can just get around it. So there's a lot of like, not only are you trying to place things in the world, sometimes you have to destroy things so you can get around it. And the other thing that we discovered is that photos, whatever you have in the photo exists in the world, even beyond what the photo's seeing, as long as it's within the frame. Because you took a photo of just this wall, and when we put the photo down, we went to the other side of it, and that's where the portal was. So that's how we knew that we had to figure out how to like maneuver, the puzzle so that we can get it, because it was like the wrong way or whatever.
So you had to take a picture of it. You had to take a picture of it and then place it so that you saw it from the side, take a picture of that, and then rotate it the right way up.
Yeah. So that's something about this game that makes it even more complicated, because sometimes you'll take a picture of something and not even know that's what the goal is on the other side. We had kind of ran into that problem early on where we had to destroy a wall and the battery was on the other side, and we needed that battery, but we didn't know.
We destroyed the battery.
There was no like indication, and you easily could, and like you did it once or twice, I don't remember. So it's just, so there are times where it just kind of feels not necessarily like bad, but like a little wonky on how to like discover what you need to do.
Yeah, I think with it being, because I think you can snap the angle when you're rotating a little bit, but placing the photo is completely freeform. You can lock the horizontal axis so that like everything is flat. And I think it makes it flat to the photo, because if you take a picture of like a straight floor angled down, when you lock the axis, it will bump your view up slightly so that the picture is level, not that you're placing the picture level to your view.
Gotcha. Interesting.
But what I was gonna say is I think they knew that it was really easy just to like clip things or misalign something on like your first go, because you have the rewind. They just let you rewind. You can press and hold R to back up, and if you double tap it, it will jump to the last picture you took, or the last action you did, I guess, because there's like X's for placing a picture, and then there was an O for maybe picking something up. And then there was when we got to that trippy world, there was question marks on the timeline for when
MC Escherland.
Yeah, when the objects would either pop in or disappear or change the perspective. There were little question marks on the rewind thing, so you could go back to that point.
And actually, let's get a little bit into the trippy world, because it wasn't until halfway through where we started seeing like how perspectives work. And let's first talk about, because we talked about it a little bit in the first half of this, but the aligning of photos, which at first the game really revolves around you finding photos, putting them into the world. Then you can start taking pictures, and then that really changes the game a lot, and it really determines how you're going to do it. Because the problem that we had with some of the taking the pictures is like, we are fairly certain David was cheesing the game a bit by just taking pictures of batteries and like having them fall on him
I'm
and just
sure
grabbing them.
That probably was the solution to at least a couple of those puzzles, but there's definitely puzzles that we did completely unintended methods for, but that's the fun of the free flow system, is you can do it the way they expect you to, or you can just find these crazy ass backward way of doing these things and it still works. It's just you may have made it more complicated. Who knows? That's the fun.
Well, I think that was really cool when they introduced the idea that, watching how you're framing the picture instead of just like, capturing objects and moving them somewhere else, but like actually paying attention to your framing will let you solve the puzzle in a different way. Like that, they they should have expanded on that. That's a criticism I've seen, and I agree with, is that they introduce something, do it for like 2 levels, and then that's gone. Let's move on to something else. Like they don't expand too much on a lot of these really good ideas that they introduce pretty late, into the game. I think it was World 4 we got to when they introduced the material that cannot be photographed.
Yeah. And I think the whole idea of what they're trying to do, and what I was kind of alluding to, is that each world, I think they're trying to do like a new thing. Like it's a different concept that they're introducing. Like, first it's just photographs, then it's the camera. And then obviously we moved on to aligning the photos, which we talked to a bit before, where you just have to find the exact perspective. And once you get in front of it, the photo will line up perfectly, and then you traverse into the next world, which is really cool. But we only saw it, like you said, for that one, 4 or 5 levels, and then we kind of just dropped it dead in the water. How insane would it have been? And they kind of do it in the 4th world, just the hair, but like differently. When the world itself is distorted. Like you stand, like when you first look at, like, for example, when we saw these stairs, and it's just the way the stairs are painted on the side of this wall, you think it's actual stairs, but the closer you get, you realize, oh no, there's no stairs here. It's just painted to look like there's stairs here. So this isn't the way to go. And you go turn around and like, oh no, there's a wall here, until you take 2 steps further and you're like, oh wait, no, there is no wall here. This is actually a doorway to paint it to look like it's a wall. And that's just so weird.
I just remembered, was not thinking about it at all while we were playing, but you know what they introduced for like 3 levels and then never brought back? The photocopier. Like being able to copy a picture that you've taken.
I only remember you doing it once.
There was like 3, I think there was...
Was it?
There was the introductory one, and then I'm pretty sure there were 2 more. So there was like tutorial and then like 2 actual puzzles that it revolved around.
Which is weird, because if they're going to put in the tutorial, you'd think it would be like more useful throughout the game. Why even bother mentioning it?
The whole game is like that, though. Imagine how trippy World 4 would have been if you had access to the camera and making copies of your picture and the level itself like distorting. Like imagine you have the distorted stairs in the corner, wherever it was when we walked up to it, and then you had to find out how to get to a position where it looked like they were whole. You take a picture of that, and then you need to make a copy of it. You make a copy of that to make like a second staircase to get up higher than one staircase would allow you to get. But they don't do any of that. They introduce these mechanics and then just like, here's a couple of neat ideas. Okay, let's do something else.
Yeah, I think, I'll piggyback off your criticism of that. I feel like one thing that and I don't know, maybe this is just a limitation of time and budget and things like that. So I'll give them a little, credence there. But I feel like they really didn't stack any of these really cool ideas on top of each other. It was just like, here's a cool idea, you do it for a little bit, that's gone forever. Here's another cool idea, you do it for a little bit, that's gone forever. Like they didn't do any of these stacking of
they definitely
any of these
mixed
ideas.
Stuff every once in a
while. They did a little bit,
it
but
was not
much.
As much as one would hope. No.
Yeah. Like we were mentioning, there's a whole, like, was it maybe level 4 where there are things you can't take pictures of because it's this like weird digital thing that's spreading. So anything that's like a different color or it's grayed out, you can't take a picture of it. Or what was the other thing that we had trouble? You can't take a picture of it and you can't go through it. What was the stipulation of it? You
can't. Yeah, it cannot be photographed, and it absorbs a photograph that you try to place on it. So if you have a picture, anything that you like are covering this weird material with, it won't accept it. It will still just exist as this gray material.
Yeah, you can't just destroy it like everything else.
It's like in Portal when there's like walls you can't put portals on. It's like the same concept of that. So it added a nice element, and I'm glad that they kind of kept that going for a long period of time before they got to the weird perspectives part. But I again, like, they didn't stack much onto that other than like the photo taking
Yeah,
it
the other
all.
one
Like,
too. I think it was like right at the beginning of World 4 where they introduced the timers that like they
Oh, yeah,
held
yeah,
a
yeah.
charge, and the whole like puzzle was you had to figure out how to activate it, and then you take a picture of it while it's charged, and then you place down the photo and essentially just have to exit in a set amount of time while the charge is depleting. I thought that was going to go on for way longer. There was like maybe 4 puzzles with that mechanic, and then we never did that again. Or the other ones where you had to activate the portal, like the switch, to turn the portal on, but then it was inaccessible, so you had to take a picture from a certain perspective so that the power line, portal, and switch were all in the same picture before you could get to it.
Yeah.
Those were some of my favorite puzzles, and we never did that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mostly in what, World 2, I think?
It was like the
And that
end
was-
of World 3 and like, yeah.
Was it?
World 4 is where they introduced like the, you know, the unstoppable darkness. But
Yeah.
yeah, my thoughts on all of this, and you know, good criticisms. I can't disagree with any of it. Is so let's say you're a first time dev with 0 budget, and you know
Which
you
is
can't
probably true.
have an unlimited amount of time making 0 money, right? You're gonna throw every single idea you have at the wall, and you're gonna make it as cool as possible, right? And they did that. All of these ideas are great. They're
Yeah,
fantastic,
they
right?
absolutely succeeded.
Yes, you did a great job. Now you have money from this game to take to the second one, and you can expand on all of those ideas and mix and match them, and all the criticisms that people are going to give them, just like this, they'll be able to hear and
It's
use
more
those.
feedback, less
Yes,
of criticism
right.
now.
They will now have feedback on all of these things. You know, now they know which ideas people are going to like, which ideas people don't like, and then they can start mixing and matching, and they have money now, so they'll be able to do that, and they'll have more time to do it because they have the money from this. So, I mean, overall,
Yeah.
you know, yes,
fair
a valid
point.
criticism, but I think they did a good job if they're planning on a second one, because they threw all these ideas into the ether, and all of them are fucking great. So,
Yeah, this feels even the length of this game, and I think one of my criticisms is not necessarily the length, but and maybe it's just we're too smart for it because we breezed through this. We breezed through this. We were like, what, 1 world away from beating it. We actually had to purposely stop.
Yeah, we
because
said
were
we
like,
probably were
beat
gonna
this
finish
game.
it.
We would have beat it if we had let it go another half hour. So we were breezing through it, and we played for like what, an hour and a half. So I think the game arguably is a little too easy at times.
I think
but again, this
don't
is a little bit
know-
of a prototype.
yeah,
I
I don't
wouldn't
know
say
that I
it's
would
too
say it's easy.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, you have me and David here, and we both are puzzle. That's what we do. We play puzzle games.
Puzzle games, yeah. I think
Yeah.
That is what we do.
I think
And the
too,
local chaos gremlin,
part
that's
of-
me.
part of the problem, I don't want to say problem, it's not a problem, but not only do like both of us play puzzle games a lot, but I really enjoy these kind of puzzle games that are like messing with perspective, like Portal. I just got done playing Fez. Superliminal is incredible. All of these games that like kind of make you think outside of what you're immediately seeing.
Mhm.
And you know, this is more of that with a twist, but I think nothing like you walk into a room and okay, this element, this element, this element, and I pretty much automatically understand what needs to be done to solve the puzzle. The only ones that we really got tripped up on was when they introduced the batteries that you couldn't take pictures of,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
it stymied my
Your
foolproof
trick.
plan of just taking batteries and putting them where I need them. Those were great puzzles too. They, you know, but definitely that was a bit of a jump from how we were solving puzzles. So like, okay, now you have to do something different, and it's like, shit.
You know what though? In they did it once, and I kind of wish they did it more. The one time they did a really good job, and it stumped us for a long time, is when they put in that little red herring of that that
yeah.
that painting. They put a painting in the world, and the whole purpose of this painting is just to find a collectible.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into in a second. And so we're going around. We're guaranteed this painting. You put it down. You're gonna find it, and you didn't need the painting at all. The answer was actually take a photo of something else and
literally
place it down.
where you start.
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
It was like literally 2 steps and you're done. You just had to kind of think it
The
through.
only reason my brain got jogged on that puzzle is because we found that collectible, and I was like, "Oh, there's a collectible here."
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like,
I was
and
like,
it looked
"Wait
like
a fucking
big.
minute."
It was like a maze. Like the painting itself, once you went in it, it was like just kind of a maze you had to kind of traverse through, and there's stuff in there. So you're like, well, there's got to be something in here. There's got to be another photo. I had to miss something. I wish they did a little bit more of that red herringness, just to kind of
Well, I think
and it wouldn't have been much. I mean, that
what we
wasn't that
found
much to do.
we found a planet in there, right? I think with the planet collectible is
Yeah,
what was in that level.
one of the planets.
But so when we actually did the solution, it was literally one picture, right? Take a picture of the thing and place it under the battery. In that collectible room, there was another film pickup, because you pick up film to add shots to your camera. So I'm wondering if there's some other like secret or hidden something elsewhere in the level, because you don't need that film to solve the puzzle normally. And even getting into that paint or getting out of that painting, we started with shots in the camera. So we could have, I don't even know if we could have gotten out without rewinding, but I don't see the point of that extra film unless there's something else hidden there.
Was there more than one picture in that one?
Maybe.
Okay, I don't remember
Well,
because
here's the thing,
I thought
though.
the film was to get back out once you get in, but perhaps you're right.
Well, here's my thing, and I wanted to save this for last because I think this kind of negates a lot of the things that I argued about it being too easy. I think if you actively try to find these collectibles, we found 3, maybe 4.
3.
And we had to find all the planets. There's all these. What else was there? There's another set of collectibles. These mahjong tiles that we found.
I know the first level has rubber ducks, because I actually did find all of the rubber ducks in the first
rubber
level.
ducks. I have a feeling that the game, just figuring out how to get out of the game, is fairly simple, and that's probably for like the basic stuff. But if you really want the challenge, that's probably gonna take you that 4 or 5 hours. I have a feeling these collectibles are not nearly as easy to find as it is just to get out.
Oh, certainly
That's my
not.
theory, at least. Because
Well,
we
that's
only
'cause
found a handful of them.
In the first level at least, a lot of the ducks are kind of just sitting there. You just got to find them. But in one of the rubber ducks is down a chain of photos that actually has forked paths. So you can go down this chain of photos and pick left or right, and there's a different picture at each end, and only one of them has the collectible at the end. So you kind of have to figure out, okay, this was a dead end. Maybe if I back up and go down the other path, I can find something, and you do. But so yeah, the collectibles are definitely, well, some of them anyway, are definitely very well hidden.
Yeah. So I think that's where, if you're a completionist and you wanted to do that, that's where you're going to get your money's worth in this game. Versus like, you'll probably, if you're good at puzzle games, you'll probably breeze right through it, kind of like we were doing. But not to say that you wouldn't enjoy the game, like David was saying. But I think that's where things will take a major turn in this game, is if you really go after those collectibles. And now it's time for the final say. Will we continue Viewfinder? And since David played the game, he will be going last. And I guess we'll start with Tim going off here. Like, the Mr. I'll play everything.
Yeah.
He'll be going first. So Tim, Viewfinder, will you continue?
Well, as is no shocker, I will absolutely be continuing this. This is only $25, and it is a phenomenal puzzle game from everything that I have seen. I want to know what it feels like to get in there and really play it. I'm a huge fan of puzzle games. Basically, if you have a puzzle game, I'm going to play it. Like, they're really good. The Room is still, like, my favorite series as far as puzzle games goes, which was introduced to me by David. And if you are a fan of puzzle games, that is, like...
How many
the
rooms
gold
are there?
Standard 4 Five
There's-
with the VR one.
Yeah, there's 5 because there's 4 like regular games, and then there's a VR version.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I haven't had a puzzle game pique my curiosity in a while, and this one, like from moment one, when you put down that first photo, I was in.
Yeah.
That
It's-
just
that's
looks
'cause-
so cool.
That's the other thing too, and like it's kind of hard to see in the video because I'm sure the stream is a little bit fuzzy. You know, you're watching online video, but when you're playing it, if you like, once you put the photo down, if you don't move, nothing
You wouldn't have known.
changes.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and, you know, you don't see like anti-alias or aliasing appear or you know, textures pop into like, you know, boom, okay, it has been placed. The only thing I've seen, and it doesn't even, I think it happens once, just the nature of the photo, you put it down and like some fire animation starts playing to like let you know that it has been placed. But until you move, until you like step forward or move your mouse or anything, it like in the world, it looks like there's just a photo hanging there.
Okay, so that's cool. That's cool as hell. Like, there's just so much good stuff in this game. Like, I could not recommend this enough, having never played it. Just looking at it, I cannot recommend this hard enough. And then there's collectibles on top of it, which, if you are a person like me, big fan of collectibles. I love me some collectibles. And they made them hard to find, and you have to puzzle through how to find them. Like, that's just cool. Like, that rewind mechanic's going to definitely become a thing, because I'm guessing these later puzzles, especially, like, the one that we had to jump into the crazy, colorful room, like, you can't just get back out of there, from what I can tell, because you have to drop down in, so you're going to have to rewind back up. Like, so that mechanic even has a use outside of just screwing up. It has a use in figuring out the puzzles of getting the collectibles, which is cool. And yeah, it just, everything about this I love, and 100% will be continuing. I'm gonna buy this, and I'm gonna love every second of it. So yes, I will continue Viewfinder.
Okay. Big shocker. All right, my turn. Will I continue? I will say absolutely yes. I haven't been as excited about a puzzle game since Portal. Like, I've not actually played Subliminal, like, by myself. I've seen Superliminal. Thank you.
Play
Superliminal yet. I know I'd probably like it.
In
I don't
fact,
know why I haven't played it yet.
Challenge.
Oh.
Stream Superliminal.
I
want to watch you play Superliminal.
I think I'd have a lot of fun with it. But I haven't had a puzzle game, make me feel this way since Portal. Like, everything about it. And I also want to, like, applaud and reward these new, creators of this game, these devs of this game, and give them the full price. I don't even want, I'm telling you, if you want them to make games going further, you will buy this at the $25 it is now and not wait for it to go on sale, because this is ingenuity in a video game. Like, this is like something I've not seen before, and it's done so well. Like, to the fact that, like, if you mess up, that's just a testament, like Dave was saying earlier. Like, there's so many things that they do so well. And sure, we had our criticisms, but I was just trying to find criticism a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? Like, I could argue any game at this point, but it's just done so well. So I want to applaud the devs. What is it? Sad Owl Studios. And I beg them to use the money from this game and put it into a sequel. And I just want to see what they can do with this, because I have a feeling that they're going to take all this feedback, all this energy that we have for this game, and just throw it into it. So I will 100% continue this game. David, I think we already know your answer.
Well, actually, I thought of
continue?
another interesting tidbit before I give you my answer.
Okay.
So I don't think that this is like directly ripping off the idea, but Valve had actually been prototyping a mechanics very similar to this for what Portal 2 was going to be. So the original idea was Portal 2 wasn't going to have any portals in it. It was going to be a new puzzle mechanic going through Aperture Labs and like doing more science. And they had a mechanic very similar to this where you could take pictures of objects. I think it was just objects. I don't think they did the environment, where you take pictures of objects and like move them around and change their scale to be able to solve different puzzles. But this takes it so much further beyond that. It is literally the entire environment of the picture that you took. It just gets plonked down. Like when you put a photo down, you can see the cuts in the geometry.
Yeah.
Like there's just these shaved off sections of level that are gone because you put new stuff there. It's so cool. And I'm basically already done with this. So absolutely I'm going to finish it. I'm one level away from finishing the game.
You know what? I have one more thing of criticism that I want to add, and this is for the devs, just for the sequel that I'm praying is coming. I wish they'd add a little bit more physics to this game, and I mean that by like if I cut something out, for example, like in Minecraft, sometimes like there'd be like poles or something that sit up. I wish that there was a little bit some physics to it, to where like it would. Maybe like if I cut something out, it would fall down and then I could use that. Like, I think that would add another really cool element. Again, budget and timing, I'm sure. Adding physics to this would probably take a whole new level of crazy and put it into the game. But I think it would be really fun to introduce that and figure out how to, like, maybe I could chop up a mountain and use it as stairs or something. So I wanted to throw that in there before you continued your answer. Sorry. Continue.
But no, I will absolutely be continuing this. This is, like once in a generation puzzle mechanic. You get a lot of puzzle games. They're kind of, like remix, twist, turn, maybe they take an idea and just take it to the next level, like make it a really difficult version of an existing mechanic. I know Portal modders do this a lot. They just take, the simple idea of Portal and they just boom, difficulty through the roof, or you have to do like midair, tricks and like shooting 3 portals before you touch the ground, and then you can make it to the end. There's some weird fucking nonsense with that. I don't know, but yeah, this is a brand new shake up. People are going to be imitating this game in a couple of years once someone else figures out what they did to make this happen.
Yeah, truly. But if you want to play this game yourself, it is $24.99. You can find it on Steam and PC, as well as the PlayStation 5. Those seem to be the only 2 places you can get it right now. And thank you guys for listening to the First 30. And if you'd like to see more insanity and you want to see the streams, because we do stream these every week on Wednesday evenings, roughly 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ish. Yeah, I say roughly because it could vary, but we'll always put a notification thing up, so you'll always know the premiere's coming. So you'll at least know when we'll be doing it for that day. But you can find us at the Chestery Games.